Welcome to The Awareness Angle, the weekly podcast where we dig through the latest cybersecurity news, scams, and slip-ups so you don't have to. We're here to make sense of what actually happened in the last 7 days and what it means for real people. The opinions we share are all our own. Our employers would probably prefer we stuck to the script, but where's the fun in that? I'm Ant Davis, and with me, as always, is the guy that makes this whole thing look and sound far more polished than it really is. It's Luke Pettigrew. How you doing, Luke?
Oh, yeah. Hey, Ant. Hey, everyone. No, I'm good. You?
I'm good. Good. Back after a week off. You had a nice little break last week.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Nice little time off. Not that the audience probably recognised with our special episode slotted in.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we've got so much to get through this week. We've got something different on M&S. We've got gaming sites have been sold, DDoSes, US military. We've got doctors using AI and lots more. So let's get straight into it, shall we?
Yeah, let's get to the news.
Right. So the first one I saw this week, and this isn't really news, but it's something I saw that relating to M&S. I mean, anything at the moment with M&S is really news. And I saw this on TikTok, and I don't know how I feel about it, but let me just share it with you for a second.
M&S had a data breach. If your personal info was caught up in it, you could be owed compensation. It took them over 2 weeks to admit it, whilst people's names, contact details, and more were potentially out there. That delay meant that some couldn't act fast to protect themselves. If you've got a message about the breach, then you could be eligible to join the claim. It's no win, no fee, and it only takes a minute to check. Hit the link in our bio to check now so you know where you stand.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
The same company have also got one for Co-op. When you look at their website, they're also doing a claim for Co-op. And it's a company that specialise in claims. No win, no fee. I mean, I'm sure they'll take a lovely cut. But and I'm not sure, like, they didn't tell anyone for 2 weeks. We don't know that. I don't think they knew. It's
a tricky one. And I guess they're just really doing it for the money, right? I don't think they particularly care.
You do have to wonder who really benefits from this claim. Like, is it the individuals that go for it that all might end up with £35 each or £10 each or something? Or is it them that's going to take the nice profit off the top? Because that's all they specialise in. It makes you wonder. And it's like, is M&S really to blame? We don't know, because it could have been a third-party supplier or someone connected to their systems. I know Tata came out and doubled down and said it wasn't them, because everyone kind of thought it was them.
Yeah.
So
I think it's still a bit unclear, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So no, I thought I'd share it, but I don't agree with it. I won't, maybe because we're close to it and it could be us on the other end, but like, let's just support M&S right now. Let's not get behind them like this.
Seems
feels a bit ambulance chasing, doesn't it?
Probably not the right thing to be doing, really.
No. Right. That's the first one. Next one's yours.
Cool. Yeah. So this one is Nexus Mods, which is probably one of the biggest modding platforms, like a website where you can get mods for PC games, all kind of games. But after 24 years, the owner, the founder, known as Dark One, announced they're stepping away and handing over to a small team that they said they trust, but there's no information as to who they are. But they have said it's not a corporate takeover, so I'm sure gamers would be happy to hear that. But it just seems to be like not a lot of changes, just the ownership at the moment. Obviously, things could change. But
there was a bit of uncertainty, though, wasn't there, around this one amongst the community?
Yeah, so there wasn't real. It was a bit vague. There wasn't the new owners weren't named or anything. So we'll see what happens on that one. I think people will be a bit cautious maybe with using that platform. They might go to a different one instead now.
It always makes you wonder when people don't reveal stuff It's like, why aren't you being transparent? Is that because we won't like what you're not telling us?
Yeah.
It's like, I remember years ago, and I mentioned this weeks ago, uBlock Origin, the ad blocker, when it was uBlock, I think there was a period when it got sold, but it wasn't said who it was sold to. And obviously this sits in a very trusted place in your browser. And then I think the developer ended up redeveloping it and going by the name of uBlock Origin for original. So
Yeah.
it does makes you wonder, why aren't you being transparent? Why aren't you like announcing it? Like, hey, look who's taking over. This is a great thing.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe they'll come forward, clarify it.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Largest DDoS ever. A record-breaking DDoS, which is a distributed denial of service attack, was blocked by Cloudflare after it delivered a staggering 37.4 million requests per second to a single IP address, which is the equivalent to 45 million total requests over just 45 seconds. So that, and this is like, here it is in relatable terms. It's 10,000 HD movies being streamed at once.
Wow.
So like, you're in your house, imagine your internet, if you tried to stream 10,000 movies in HD all at once.
Yeah, probably 10 would take that, maybe not even 10.
I have enough problem like in my house.
1 or 2.
Yeah. The attack was part of a broader campaign using HTTP/2 rapid reset, which is an exploit that takes advantage of how modern browsers handle HTTP connections. So this allowed the attackers to send vast amounts of traffic with really very little effort. And what's more worrying is that this wasn't a slow build up. It almost just went bam, like really quickly. Sorry if anyone's driving and I've just made you jump. I do apologize. But it hit at full force almost immediately, which means it was likely from a botnet. So a botnet is lots of different devices that are probably compromised from here, there and everywhere. Cloudflare says the attack was mitigated automatically, but it does raise concerns about the growing scale and speed of DDoS capabilities, especially for those smaller organizations that perhaps haven't got any DDoS protection. You know, Cloudflare, they're not cheap. The other concerning thing about this, and it hasn't been disclosed who the actual potential victim of this is. That's been kept hush hush, and they're perfectly within their right to. But quite often, DDoS attacks can be used as a smokescreen for other activities. So they're used as a distraction technique, almost like everyone's panicking because everything's gone down when really someone's sneaking in the back door when no one's looking.
Yeah.
So, So it's a brand new DDoS weapon, HTTP2, probably a large and sophisticated botnet. It does make you wonder if this is the first big one of many. Is this now the new normal?
Yeah.
We'll wait and see.
I wonder if it was ChatGPT. I think they went down a couple of weeks ago.
They did. Yeah, they were down for some time a couple of weeks ago.
I don't know when this was supposed to be, but yeah. That's crazy numbers.
10,000 HD movies all at once. It almost doesn't need to be that big, which makes you think maybe it was a test, right? Maybe it was like, I wonder how big we can go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I'll take the next story because I have an image for this. So, basically, recently, I'm not going to get into politics or anything like that, but this touches a little bit on politics. Obviously, we've had, war in the Middle East recently between Iran and Israel. And there was a couple of things on this. So I'm talking about OSINT, and sometimes like finding out what's happening is as simple as watching how busy the local pizza place is. And this is actually called Pizzint. Pizzint. So open source intelligence is OSINT. We've talked about it previously on the show. But in Qatar, and I saw this on Reddit, right? And I must have called it at the right point because it got removed from Reddit. And if you're listening to this episode, we've successfully not been removed from wherever it was. I don't think I've given away any secrets, right? Because this image is still available on the internet.
Right.
So in the gym on an airbase in Qatar, so in the US airbase in Qatar, before it was bombed by Iran in retaliation for the attack on Iran by the US, OSINT analysis had noticed a spike in activity using Google location data. So just when you go to Google and you search up somewhere, Google tells you how busy it is. So basically, we could find out really easily how busy this gym on the US airbase was. And I'm assuming this is legit, right? There is a chance that it's not. But you can see here this big red drop where it was really less busy than usual.
Wow, yeah.
Which kind of gives it away, right? If you're listening to us and you're not watching it, then check out the YouTube and you can get it on there. So the interesting thing was when tensions escalated between Israel and Iran in mid-June, so last month, there's an account on X, formerly known as Twitter, called Pentagon Pizza Report. And that flagged an increase in activity at pizza shops near the Pentagon. So Google Maps showed like Papa John's, Domino's, District Pizza Palace were busier than usual shortly before the Israeli strikes on the Iranian targets and US military action was announced. And this is widely reported. Like all of the big papers picked up on this: Fast Company, Economic Times, Fox Business. This is out there. Even the Times in the UK here reported on this. So this is like big business, right? The interesting thing, and this is what I love, history lesson. So pizza intelligence originates from the Cold War Soviet intelligence practices. So essentially, agents reportedly monitored sharp increases in pizza deliveries and restaurant footfall near US government buildings like the Pentagon, CIA and White House as early stages of imminent military or diplomatic action. And it says here, one of the most cited anecdotes, a Domino's in Northern Virginia delivered 21 pizzas in a single night just hours before Iraq invaded Kuwait in August 1990. And that's like OSINT legend, apparently. So I think the US government probably needs to have a word with Google and tell it to like maybe like delay the spike in these places. Like
that's crazy.
This is, it just goes to show though, you've got to be really, really careful because you can work out from anywhere.
Yeah, especially how public the data is for that Google location. Anybody can view that. And
people really underestimate OSINT, and it doesn't, like, it's not, sometimes it's so simple. Simeon from Vivida, we've spoken about Vivida here on the show before. Vivida Reels, really good kind of TikTok style videos. Simeon posted, he's quite an influential character on LinkedIn, and he posted a picture of himself in a coffee shop today, and outside was a street sign. And just searching for a unique name on the street sign and then going to Google Maps, you could work out exactly what coffee shop, I could work out what window he was sat in, you know, and it's, so it's, you've got to be really careful about what you post and the tools. But this is all Android, Google phone data that's picking up on this.
Yeah.
So,
turn off your location.
Turn off your location. Tell, like, US government officials turn off location services or something like that. That would probably be a good idea. Staying on a military theme, the next one is yours.
Yes, I mean, I heard about this one actually. US military secrets leaked on War Thunder forums. And yeah, War Thunder's a PC game, military style flight simulator, I guess. But basically,
you can do everything on War Thunder.
Yeah, you can do tanks and you ships and stuff. Yeah, so a player got banned for sharing a section of the restricted US flight manual for the AV-8B Harrier plane. And yeah, it was a document that was marked Distribution Statement C, which meant it wasn't for public release. And it's the 9th time that something has been shared that's been classified on that forum. So it's just a crazy thing that someone's out there who has access to this information is just carelessly sharing it, I guess. But yeah, it seems to be that it wasn't related to a hacker or a cyber attack. It was probably someone that's wanted to show off and maybe boast about that they've got access to this document.
Or proving a point in an argument.
Yeah, it was maybe getting that technical over the game, but...
God. I know War Thunder's famed for its kind of realism and attention to detail. I'm sure previous classified material shared on there has been to prove a point, or, this plane is this fast. No, it's this fast. Look, I can prove it. Here's the document that says it is, and it's got classified stamped all over it.
Where they got the document from in the first place, but
they're probably military personnel.
Potentially, yeah.
Probably. I know it's I'm sure my dad was in the Air Force my dad did military service. Okay, my dad's in his 80s. So back in the 50s, he did military service, and he always wanted to fly a plane, but he wasn't a pilot. He was ground staff. So maybe ground staff that want to fly a plane play War Thunder.
Yeah.
Now. They didn't have War Thunder in the 1950s, but
no, yeah. I mean, I guess it shows how easily sometimes you have access to documents and stuff, and it can be exfiltrated, whether intentional or unintentional. Yeah.
There's a couple of angles here. Number one, whoever shared it might have been caught up in the emotion of proving a point and heated in an argument, and didn't really consider the consequences. I'm having a conversation with one or two people in a forum. No one's going to see it. To the other extreme, on the other side of the coin, do War Thunder have enough checks and balances in place to prevent this happening again? Do they have OCR? Do they have enough disclaimers? Yeah. It's tricky, isn't it?
In the lifetime it's happened, it's quite impressive.
There's a recurring problem here. Yeah. Who will be number 10? That's Yes. So maybe just remember, don't go sharing data that might be confidential. Here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah.
Next story tonight. Doctors using unapproved AI tools, and this is a story from Sky News here in the UK. Doctors in the UK are reportedly using unapproved AI tools to record patient consultations, which obviously raises serious questions about privacy, data protection, and transparency. A Sky News investigation revealed that some NHS GPs are trialing or adopting AI transcription software, which we've spoken about on here before, without formal approval or proper data governance. So these tools are being used to save time by automating notes from consultations. But in many cases, the patients aren't even aware that their conversations are being recorded, let alone processed by AI. So this is a privacy minefield for the NHS. We're talking about this could be audio is being transferred to AI platforms. We're talking about medical records to build profiles of users. This is on the other side of the coin, though. I can really see why a doctor, a GP, general practitioner would use that, because you can have a conversation and you can get a summary of notes and just paste it in somewhere.
Yeah. It's a bit concerning. But I mean, you can have AI can get it wrong, I guess. Sometimes there could be quite a severe consequence from that. Let alone, sharing that with an unapproved platform.
Yeah. I mean, this is crying out for an approved solution, which will probably come in at hundreds of millions of dollars to the UK government, and it probably will take 8 years to go through procurement and stuff like that. But
probably.
This is crying out. There's obviously a need here, because otherwise they wouldn't be doing it. So this highlights the fact that maybe they need to hurry up and get an approved AI solution for transcription, because, and we've seen this in loads of places, like AI transcription tools pop up here, there, and everywhere, and they self-propagate really well. we talked about fireflies ages ago on a conversation, and Google has it built in, but if you just want to get some notes written up.
Yeah, it reminds me. I saw on TikTok. I think it was an ad, but it was disguised as a real person talking about this app. But yeah, it was someone saying, "Oh, do you want to save so much time in your meetings taking notes? Use this transcribe app." And it was like them promoting this app. And then in the comments, people were like, "This is crazy! Like, you shouldn't be doing this. Data privacy and all that. It's just crazy that these companies are out there promoting this behavior on social media, and people are gonna just go ahead and do it."
Yeah, it's good that people in the comments were flagging the concerns, because like when we've posted stuff about Windows 10 no longer receiving updates, people don't seem concerned. It's funny where the line's drawn, isn't it, between like, oh, not having my data, but then like the illusion that a computer without any security updates is secure.
Yeah,
it's funny. Yeah. So yes, if you're in the doctors and you have a feeling, if the phone's lit up or you can see like stuff, feel free to challenge, whether or not your data is being sent to a third party. I think that would be what you want to do.
Yeah. Cool. Move on to the next story, I guess. So this is a new FileFix attack, weaponizes Windows File Explorer for stealthy commands, and this is links into a couple episodes ago where we talked about the Windows shortcut files, and previously ClickFix type attacks.
Yes.
But it seems to be a cybersecurity researcher known as Mr. Docs has developed this new variation of ClickFix called FileFix, and they've demonstrated how it could be used to do a similar thing, I guess, where basically it seems to be that they've got a PowerShell command embedded into a Windows shortcut file, which supposedly doesn't show a visible prompt or alert the user once they've done it, which is quite a scary thing.
Yeah, there's I had a look at this. So this was ClickFix, which we showed previously, wasn't it? Which is where a fake capture typically, then it asks you to press Windows key R and then Control and V and enter, so it's pasting something in the run box.
Yeah,
but this does something differently, and there's a video here. Let me just share this because it's quite good. So you land on a page, and again, this is just a simulation. And it says to access this document, copy the file path below. And I'll play the video. So it copies. You just have to click on it and it copies it. And then there's a button that says Open File Explorer, which you click and it opens up your File Explorer, which is, your Windows where you go to look at your C drive and your files and your downloads. And then you click on the address bar and then just paste. And then boom, it's actually, God, that's scary, isn't it? It's actually running a command and has opened a command prompt and it's pulling something down from a IP address.
Well, yeah. Yeah, it's just it's very similar to what we spoke about before, where shortcuts aren't as maybe safe as you think. And they're hard to sort of see. I mean, obviously in this example, it's talking about pasting that in, but you could still be sent, that we spoke about before, being sent a shortcut file, which could be disguised as anything to the average user.
It's really important that we reinforce what the normal behavior is. And you think, because why is a web page asking me to do this? There's no reason ever in all my years of using a computer and doing IT support and 10 years in cyber that there's a genuine reason for doing that behavior. That's chain of actions.
Yeah.
It just doesn't exist. So
yeah, I've seen similar you try and find a fix for something on your computer or whatever, and you get sent to a website that pretends to have the fix, and obviously it tells you to just run this command to fix your computer, and similar sort of thing. runs a command, a malicious prompt. So yeah, I think it's just talking about and thinking about, is this the right thing to actually be doing?
When you venture into the dark side of the internet and, you know, on the verges of where you're looking for stuff that perhaps you shouldn't be, it's a risky place. And this stuff you see all the time. Click here, do this, do that. And knowing where to click on the page is sometimes challenging.
Yeah.
It's best, unless you know what you're doing or you're prepared to lose everything, it's best not to venture in those places.
Yeah.
And I have a story similar to that about my mum, which we'll get to later.
Yeah, especially don't do it on a work computer. Maybe.
Absolutely not.
Cool.
Right. I saw this one on Cyber News. And if you haven't got a working ad blocker, I think Cyber News is one of those sites you're probably best not going to. But this is around SMS blasters. Have you heard of an SMS blaster?
I don't think I have, to be honest.
I hadn't either. That's fine. There's no judgment here. So an SMS blaster allows criminals to send out texts without needing a person's number, and it avoids spam messages as well. So UK police are warning the public about smishing attacks, SMS phishing. So these devices, these SMS blasters, can send thousands of fake messages at once. They can mimic trusted brands like Royal Mail, banks, or delivery services. These messages can come from spoof sender names, making them look like they're part of a genuine conversation thread on your phone. So you can apparently buy these SMS blasters for just a few £100s, and anyone with minimum technical knowledge can use them. I wonder, have you, these aren't, an SMS blaster.
Yeah, I just Googled it and it looks like a large box with antennas on.
Right. Okay. I was thinking for a second it was going to be a Flipper Zero, but it's not. That's fine. So look, they can be bought easy for a few £100, used by anyone with minimum technical knowledge. Criminals are using them in car parks, apartment buildings, or even on the move. And they literally just go boom out to a massive area with fake tests, with phishing links. So there's not really anything like, these are really hard to stop. SMS is a bit like email. It's a very old technology. It's, you know, it's just there. It's not owned by anyone, I don't think. I don't even know who regulates SMS as a tool. So if you get a message, and I actually got one this week from DVLA. It was a SMS. It was an SMS. So it came through as a message. It was a group that had 9 people in it.
Right.
And it was a message that said DVLA final compliance reminder. And if it wasn't, I mean, the URL was rubbish, but also it was a group with 9 people. DVLA aren't going to send me a message in a group with 9 people. DVLA is the driver vehicle license authority here in the UK. Yeah. So SMS messages, just another example. If you get messages, check the URL. You can't trust if it says it's from Royal Mail or it's from DHL or DPD or FedEx. You've got to use your instincts. Am I expecting a delivery? Am I really due a refund? And then look at the link in the text message to whether or not it looks genuine. This one from DVLA use gov.uk domains. And this came from parkingfine-gov.obt.live something. So it was clearly rubbish, but I know that many wouldn't.
Yeah, it can be hard to tell sometimes. Yeah, phones, I mean, obviously this says it avoids them, but phones obviously sometimes come up with a spam detected, but not always.
Not always. Android's very good at that. iOS, I've never seen it.
Yeah, I think it's coming through as a new iOS 26 update. Was going to have some more features on that type of thing.
About time.
Yeah. So yeah, the next story we've got is one I saw on BBC around how the ransomware attack, which took place June 2024 on the NHS.
Synovis.
Yeah,
Synovis.
the blood, to do like blood tests, that system, by Synovis. Yeah, the agency that manages the labs for them.
Synovis are the pathology. They offer pathology services, blood testing and screening services for a number of NHS trusts. They had a cyber attack last year, didn't they?
Yeah, so a year on from there, it's been reported that the death of one person has been linked to that ransomware attack. Wow. It's quite crazy to hear that has sort of happened from it, really. It shows like it's not just systems that get affected by this thing. It can affect people in that way. But yeah, so it's, spoke about how the patient data was stolen during that incident, and the delays and the disruption unfortunately led to this patient's death. It's quite a remarkable story, really. It's not much. I don't know if there's a whole lot more information here, but
it does make you wonder if these are like, and I don't know who was behind the Synovis ransomware attack, but if it was like 16-year-old kids in their bedroom, they could now be up on a manslaughter charge.
Yeah,
which has a significantly longer term than a theft or something. They've actually killed someone.
Yeah. So it was said here that it was Qilin, Qilin, Russian-based criminal group.
Right.
But they said that they're sorry, but not. This is previous statement, I think, that they were sorry for the harm caused, but wasn't to blame.
Of course not.
Yeah. So obviously, cyber criminals that do this in the UK and stuff like that probably more likely to get a sort of caught, and maybe something's going to be done for them. But obviously, when it's outside of the country, who knows? It's probably never going to get caught for that.
No. I think it was one of the Taken films where his daughter was kidnapped and taken abroad or something like that. And it's like, there's very little the government can do. So you have to turn into Liam Neeson and go abroad and get your own revenge.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a bit of a sad one, but a stark reminder how severe ransomware can be.
Yeah. And they don't care. Like companies, hospitals, schools. I remember at an event I was at a while ago, someone was from a university and was saying like they're not allowed to pay ransom. Like they can't because they're education. And it's like, why are they doing it if they can't pay ransom? It's just, they don't care.
Yeah.
They'll just go and get anyone and everyone. Doesn't matter.
No.
Doesn't matter. Something I saw this week, Windows 10, I feel like we're going to stop talking about Windows 10 soon, but Windows 10 goes out of support October 2025. You all know that. Now, for anyone who has Cyber Essentials or Cyber Essentials Plus, this is a big deal because I believe that once Windows 10 is out of support, it doesn't meet the basic requirements for Cyber Essentials. So unless you're paying for Microsoft's extended security updates, which aren't cheap and do only buy you 3 years. So if your organization is still running Windows 10 after October without ESU, then you could fail Cyber Essentials. If you're not thinking about this, this is one of those quiet compliance risks that could quite easily creep up on you. So if you've got Cyber Essentials or Cyber Essentials Plus, you need to get rid of Windows 10 or you need to buy extended support by October. That's it.
Yeah. Cool.
Right. Next one is you, sir.
Yeah, it's the last one I think we've got for this week. So this is a new wave of fake interviews, which seems to be... I think you've seen it before. It's a North Korea contagious interview campaign, which targets job seekers particularly developers, like software developers, where they've this latest attack is using 35 npm packages to spread malware, which they're distributing during fake interviews. So the npm is like a registry sort of database of software, I guess primarily for like Linux based sort of things. I don't know too much about it, but it's like a package sort of manager in a way of being able to download various tools, I believe. It's probably a better way of explaining it somewhere else. But basically, they've mimicked well-known and trusted libraries and tools and made them dangerous, really. So victims have been led to this by these people posing as recruiters, where they've posted like fake job adverts, and then it's like, here's a test project or some sort of project file to download, and this is all in a Google Doc, and a link sends them to somewhere to download some packages, really, and it has info stealing malware. It says here X eval loader, which has been hidden in there. Contacts a threat actor server and fetches all the information on the device. So like browsing data, cookies, crypto wallets, credentials, all sorts of stuff.
They'll just grab whatever they can.
Yeah. Maybe we just want to look out for, really. I don't know how specific this is. It does seem to be around software developers, but it could really happen to anybody in a way, deploying malware through fake interviews.
It's that illusion of trust, isn't it? I suppose they're having an interview. They've probably been through a bit of a process. This third party has invested some time in me. It's not, which probably it helps it feel authentic. But then without realizing during the interview, they're probably downloading an npm package, and then like it's triggering malware. They might get a thank you very much for your time, we'll be in touch. They might even get back in touch and go, sorry, your application was unsuccessful. But secretly they're then pilfering all of their data. I think this is probably one, and I can't remember now. I'm sure there was a company where this was used as the way in, but this could be used in very targeted attacks. Target developers who work with lovely job offers that work at a specific company. And then squeeze their way in that way.
I'll just clarify that npm is a package manager for Node.js packages.
Right.
And so a platform that hosts these packages.
It's GitHub, and typically that they...
So Node.js is a open source cross-platform JavaScript runtime environment that lets developers create servers, web apps, and various other tools. So it's very specific, but it seems to be happening at the moment. Be careful, I guess, with potential interviews, especially when you're being reached out to by a recruiter. Probably too good to be true in some cases.
Right. Let's move on to the comments section. That's the news for this week. Now let's move on to the comments. So I didn't post anything from last week because last week was a special, talking about awareness behaviors and stuff like that. But I have been posting some stuff from the week before. So I shared on TikTok stuff about the NHS staffing breach that was hidden for 13 months. Do you remember that? NHS professionals who were recruitment company, a staffing company for the NHS. Deloitte went in and said, you were breached. You've had data breached. NHS professionals disagreed, said, no, we hadn't. So this is the topics on TikTok. Someone says, I am their employee for nearly 2 years. What should I do to check if my data was leaked? can I make a financial claim if my data was leaked? So, I mean, people think differently to us. You know, that's your data's probably out there anyway. But yeah, if it is actually leaked, you're probably entitled to a claim. You know, watch out for a TikTok video asking you to join.
I mean, in the UK, it's been plastered all over the TV adverts, right? All these claim things. So there's no surprise.
Yeah. Someone said 13 months is mad. Surely the ICO has to be slapping them with something. ICO is the Information Commissioner's Office here in the UK that slap you for GDPR breaches. Someone else says, I can tell you horror stories of police, universities, etc. from pen testing. Might reach out to that person, find out. Someone, like, quite a lot of clued up people. Oh, so they broke GDPR rules and committed an offence. What do hackers gain from this? Hackers don't care. It's disruption. It's a game, you know.
I mean, often they sell.
I think with that one,
data to someone that wants it potentially.
Well, I think on that one, I'm pretty sure they said it had all the hallmarks of Scattered Spider. Obviously, this was 13 months ago. Scattered Spider have been around for ages. But maybe they were just unsuccessful. Maybe they didn't manage to get ransomware out. But that probably would have been the intention. Someone else flagged, aren't the NHS going to start DNA testing every newborn baby to test for potential future health issues? Where will they store this information? Mm-hmm. This wasn't the NHS. This was NHS Professionals, which is a recruitment company. So slightly different, but that's cool. That's cool. What else did we have? Someone said here, lots of comments about OneDrive. The OneDrive, we talked about the OneDrive permission change where it asked you if you wanted to sync your personal files. We still get lots of comments on that video. That video's had over 250,000 views now on TikTok. And one of them was, why would you use a personal account on a work device? If you're signed into the browser or your personal email in the browser, I think that's enough. Someone says Jamf blows the doors off Intune. Jamf is cool. You just need it's an additional purchase and you need someone that knows what they're doing to get it going. It's a different skill set typically to someone that's been immersed in Windows for all their life. Someone said, did I actually share the fix or a website explaining the fix? It's in the comments on TikTok. So there is the fix there. The last one I shared, last comment for tonight, we spoke about the FAA, the aviation authority in America that were phasing out floppy disks and Windows 95.
Yeah.
Someone said, obviously security is my first question. It's like, yeah, that's true. Someone else said, this is amazing. Mr. Hall said, that's not surprising. I've seen nuclear and military sites using Windows NT4 in the last decade. It's like, wow.
Jeez, yeah.
Wow. There was one here, someone we spoke about. I asked when the last update for Windows 95 was. I can't find the comment now, but it was 2001. That's when the last update for Windows 95 was. So, yeah, 2001. Right, that's the comment section for tonight. Don't forget, you can follow. The links are all in our link tree, which is linktree/risky creative. We post clips from the show on Instagram and on TikTok. So you can find your poison there. That's good for comments.
Cool.
Have you listened to our interview series yet? It's out every Thursday. The last one we released was with Terry McCorkle, who's the founder and CEO of FishCloud. FishCloud's a pretty cool tool. It was a really good chat. FishCloud is a browser add-on. So rather than simulating phishing, it goes beyond that. And any links that appear in your browser, be it in a Google search or on a web page or in your email, it sends it off to threat intel and gives you a red, amber, green warning on that link. Right. So before you even click, it can give you a kind of trust rating. So really, really unusual. Terry's really cool though. Lots of history from red teaming and critical infrastructure. It's a really, really good chat. We do have a new episode out this Thursday. Pretty sure it's this Thursday. It wasn't last Thursday, so it is this Thursday. Yep. And that's with AJ King, who is a behavioral psychologist and also a UX expert. AJ is also a thespian. It's it's a hefty one, but it's one of the longer interviews that we've done, but I really enjoyed it. AJ's such a character, and we'll probably have AJ back on again at some point to talk about something else, but we get down into behaviors in this one, and yeah, it's a good chat. So that's available this Thursday in the same feed as this one on YouTube and on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify and wherever you get your podcasts.
Cool. Yeah, sounds like a interesting one for the human risk side of things.
Yeah, if you're interested in why humans do what they do and how you can change that, it's an interesting conversation. And me and AJ have known each other years, so there is a bit of a ramble there. It's just a raw conversation. You can be a fly on the wall. Right, I had a couple of things I need to whiz through. But if you work in cybersecurity and you're trying to solve the problem that is human, I had a demo this week of a really cool tool that I thought I'd give a mention, and it's a tool, Metomic. So Metomic are traditionally a DLP tool. But I spoke to them because they've got this tool, this human firewall. So essentially it's like a nudging tool that, can help notify you when data is, and it was really, really cool. I've got some notes here actually. So it's agentless, it's API based.
Right.
And, I saw a demo that worked with Slack. And if someone shares a document, then it can notify you on Slack that you've shared this document and this document contains certain data. And then in Slack, it can say, do you want to change the data classification? And right there in Slack, you can click the button to change the data classification. Or it can be, I want to remove this file or reduce the sharing. This is shared too widely. And it was really, really cool because it was there notifying me straight away. You can have different behaviors for different roles and groups. There's Teams and O365 stuff coming as well. And they're just about to pivot again over to more AI-based tools as well. So, Metomic, the demo was really good. So if nudging is a problem for you and you want something that bakes into DLP is a problem in many organizations, but DLP solutions, I think, are quite difficult to bring in sometimes. Mm. You can bring this in as a behavioral nudge tool, and it actually serves DLP purposes as well.
Yeah.
Like, it'd work really well where you are. Yeah. This is it. And it's integration, because it's API based. It integrates with loads of stuff. Notion, Slack, Google Drive. Like, it's really, really cool. So, yeah, that's Metomic. The next one I wanted to mention tonight, someone on TikTok actually asked me a question on TikTok, and I love this. So if there's anything you're not sure of, or there's anything you want us to talk about, or you just want to ask us a question, pop a question over. We don't get many questions, but this was really, really cool. So let me can I find it? Here it is. Lorry driver, Lorrie driver on TikTok said to me, what do you think about buying a product key for MS Office from Groupon or the like? So I did a bit of digging on this. So Groupon is a deal site. Voucher is another similar one. It's where you can buy discount products and stuff. It's been around for years. There's an app on the phone. I bought like a spa break on Groupon before for the wife. I actually think we both went, actually. That was quite a nice off from the kids. But I had a look on Groupon, and I was able to find Microsoft Windows 11 Pro with product key and lifetime use for one PC, up to 92% off. So Windows 11 Pro product key is normally $129.99. And right now on Groupon here, it was £7.46 with promo. 1 hour left. Pulls all the triggers. Yeah. There's a promo code that gets me an extra £2.49 off, so I can have a Windows 11 product key for £5. Right? That's amazing. So I did a bit of digging. There's Groupon customer reviews. Groupon is a trusted platform, and the comments read that the reviews were all great. Skeptical about this. I thought it's a scam or something, but the product key worked perfectly. Absolutely great purchase. Placed my order and the product key was with me in minutes. So this is all good. You know, this is positive. I then dived over to Reddit, always a source of great truth. And 2 years ago, someone said, I've always been skeptical about Groupon. Anyone agree or disagree? And Microsoft Office 2021 on Groupon for Mac should be £250, now £45. So again, massive discount. The comments are interesting. Groupon is a legitimate company, even if a lot of the stuff they have seems kind of weird anymore. And their Microsoft deals are real. I used it to get a Windows 11 license for a virtual machine. Someone says I'm seeing Windows 11 licenses for £12 versus £140. I'm looking to run something on Parallels. It seems too good to be true. People are saying, yes, it works. Yes, it works. So, yeah, it's tricky. Someone does, and it's worth noting out, someone says they'd downloaded LibreOffice for free and had nothing but a positive experience. If you need an office suite, LibreOffice is free. It's open source, and it's pretty good now. I run it myself, so.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, yeah, Groupon used to be a lot. I'm just looking at it now. There's always like a genuine business behind the products, and maybe some companies that do these special offers, but it seems to be just like a marketplace now for anybody to just list products. And yeah, it's like you can get CD keys for games and Windows and Office and stuff, but they're typically either stolen or people have bought them with credit card details and all sorts of things falling off the back of a lorry. Like, it's a bit of a dodgy thing. Be careful.
Mean, the one I did see, the Windows license, you click through to the company and it says that they're on their website, which actually is there a website? That's taking me straight to the redeem page. Okay, so their website is literally the Groupon redemption page. There's there's no more website. That's the homepage. I'm going to share it. Why not? So they're called License Tom, and I'm not victimizing them at all. They could be really genuine, right? It says it's a Microsoft certified partner. This is their homepage. The product key you've purchased is for a lifetime activation. The discount coupon you receive from Groupon has a validity of 180 days. It does make me wonder where they get their licenses from.
See, I just Googled that. License Tom Groupon. It's come up with like a Microsoft community post. And someone's, said this is most definitely a scam, only because I've just been caught out by it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's always good to research these things, isn't it? Yeah,
it is. It used to be that you could buy licenses. You could buy OEM licenses. OEM is, what's that? Original equipment manufacturer.
Yeah.
So an OEM license would be the license that you got with a new PC. And you could buy OEM licenses on eBay. And when you were sent the license, it used to come with like a stick of RAM because they had to sell it with a piece of hardware. It was like an old worthless piece of RAM was sent with the Windows license because they had to send you a piece of hardware to comply with Microsoft's licensing rules.
Right, yeah.
So to me, this sounds like grey market, but I don't know. License Tom could be genuine, and there's other vendors available on Groupon. I think, like we say with anything, if it's feels too good to be true, it probably is too good to be true.
Yeah.
Which leads me nicely onto my next one tonight. So last night, I got a call from my mum. Okay. And my mum said, and then, again, this comes back to Marks and Spencer's. I got a call from my mum, and my mum said, she said, can you tell me if this is real or not? And I was like, yeah, of course I can, Mum. What's up? And she went, Marks and Spencer's are giving away hampers. Final stock clearance. Today, June the 26th. Yesterday, it said today, June the 25th. You have been chosen to participate in our inventory clearance giveaway. We're distributing surplus stock, and you have a chance to receive an M&S collection hamper for £9.95. Hurry, only 41 spots left to enter today's draw. That was 44, 38 spots left. Every Thursday, yesterday that said Wednesday, we randomly select 10 lucky users to receive our extra inventory. Today's exclusive product is an M&S collection hamper. It was also yesterday's exclusive product. This opportunity is only available for residents in the UK. I just pressed back. Hang on. You only have 2 minutes to complete the survey. The timer hasn't started yet. But again, scroll down. Just got my M&S collection hamper from stock clearance today. Looks amazing. Super happy. My collection hamper. Here's my collection hamper. So lots of comments. These are fake. You can't like or reply. It's got 62 likes, but I can't like it.
Yeah.
But I can probably comment. We've had this. This is exactly the same as the North Face one.
Yeah.
So, are you a man or a woman? I am man. The time has started. I have 2 minutes. All the pressure. How old am I? How many members are there in your family? I'm not really alone, but I'm going to say alone. Have you bought anything at M&S before? Yes. Hang on. They're verifying my answers. I've answered all the questions. There's no previous survey. Gifts are still available. But what? Now I have to try my luck? I have 3 attempts. I bet you I get it on the second one. Oh, sorry, but this box is empty. You have 2 more luck tries. So there's 9 boxes to click on and you have to try and get one. This is like a lottery instant now. It's going to be this time because it's always the second time. Told you. Confetti. Congratulations. You're lucky. M&S collection hamper is reserved for you. Authorized American spelling. M&S is a UK company and this is only open to UK customers, remember? Red flags everywhere. Your prize will arrive within 5 to 7 business days. If I press submit, it now asks me for my address and contact details. So let me just really quickly put them in. Obviously not real. Pay with credit card. So let's just enter a name. Let's go with postman, surname Pat, number.
Some poor person.
I did know what the fake, that's not going to be someone's real phone number. Surely not. I'll buy a lottery ticket if that is. Postman@pat.com. Proceed to checkout. Do you know what? So that's just gone, people listening, that's just gone to a 404 not found page. The third party that previously redirected out to a third party payment provider.
Right.
And asked for my credit card details. Thankfully, the third party payment provider has taken that down.
Wow.
Which is brilliant because the next screen was where it collected all my payment data for the $9.95. And that's where my mum got to. My mum got to the payment page and then she rang me because it just didn't.
Yeah.
So be careful. It's quite convincing. And my mum's fairly savvy because she's got me as a son and I talk to her about this a lot. Other people would fall for that, left, right and centre.
Yeah, I imagine many have already.
Like we said with Groupon, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is too good to be true.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. Really, really quickly, I'll touch on this. Ross from Mirage Security, I saw this on LinkedIn. Ross shared an evolution of Scattered Spider. Scattered Spider are obviously MGM hack last year, Co-op and M&S this year. massively devastating attacks. Well, they've published a retrospective 2 years of social engineering havoc. Social engineering is Scattered Spider's, hallmark. It's their unique thing. Not unique, but it's what they're known for. And you can see here, there's a link actually in the comments that takes to a full retrospective. We'll put a link to that in the newsletter because it's quite an interesting read. And anyone who, wants to find out a little bit more about Scattered Spider, this write-up from Mirage is a good timeline. So that's one worth looking at. Thank you, Ross, for sharing that. And we'll put a link to that in the newsletter.
Cool.
I haven't mentioned the newsletter at all, have
I?
No.
Get
Over 700 subscribers, goes out every week with every podcast. You can sign up at riskycreative.com or search for the awareness angle on LinkedIn. It's out every single Monday. It covers everything we talk about in each episode and gives you a little bit more detail and a couple of action points on it. So that's the awareness angle newsletter that's available every single week. Right. The last one, I know we talked about Windows 10. The last one I wanted to mention is that they've changed a little bit on the Windows 10 upgrade path. So Windows 10 extended support is now available. They're making it a bit easier to get access to. Mm-hmm. You can pay a one-off fee of $30 to get extended support. This is for home users.
Right.
For businesses, it's $61 and then doubles each year for each device. But for a personal user, you'll get prompted with this. It's currently going out to their testers, but you'll get prompted and it will say, if you use Windows backup, 5 gigabytes of Windows cloud backup,
right? Yeah.
You get extended support for free.
Okay.
Or you can redeem 1,000 Microsoft reward points. Do you know what Microsoft reward points are?
I haven't heard of it.
You get Microsoft reward points for using Bing or for using the Edge browser.
Right.
So if you continue to use Bing, Bing's a search engine. If you don't know, it's like Google, but by Microsoft. Or you use Edge browser, which is like Chrome. It's actually very much like Chrome now, but made by Microsoft. Kind of made by Chrome, but then reskinned by Microsoft. So yeah, 1,000 Microsoft reward points will get you, I think, a year of extended support for Windows 10 as well. Or you can pay £30. So
that's good that they're offering it. £30 seems a little bit much, maybe, but
yeah,
a bit cheeky, but better than nothing, I guess.
Yeah. For commercial, though, if you're in a business, £61 per device per year, doubling for year 2, £122, and then year 3 doubling again.
Be a lot of money depending on your business size.
I know, right? It's definitely going to force. I mean, people would probably just stop getting updates, which is terrible. Like, it still shocks me that Microsoft aren't getting more. I get that you can't. There must be a responsibility. Like, if your product has been that successful and it's used, just to turn off the updates. Unless there's some problem with it, like, unless there's some fatal fundamental flaw in Windows 10 source code that means it can no longer be patched. But it's probably just not compatible with AI, if we're honest, is it? Probably.
Yeah, it's probably in reality not that far off of Windows 11, but
probably not.
Yeah,
probably not. Did you have anything you wanted to touch on?
I mean, I had a quick one we can maybe just whiz through. As usual, I seem to bring these to the episodes, which is an email I received from Experian this time. And this is a real one. Experian are a company that specializes in credit scores and reports and credit.
They're like an Equifax or a credit expert.
Yeah. And they offer like additional services. I don't pay for anything extra, but it was like a little teaser I guess they sent me to try and get me to subscribe to their platform. But I must have used. I think obviously you've used it previously, and the email came through about how my email was found on the dark web. I can bring it up, or you can bring it up on this screen.
Does it say where on the dark web?
Well, yeah, it's very, very vague. I'll pop it up. So this is the email I received. This is pretty generic, as you can see. And it's
your email address has been found on the dark web.
It seems to be a new feature.
Beta trial.
Trial. But
I love this. The dark web. This is a hidden part of the internet where criminals sometimes share personal information. Having your details on there can increase the risk of you being affected by scams and identity fraud.
Yeah, so I mean, it's interesting that I had received it, but I've been subscribed to like Google's dark web search, and I didn't get one from that, so not sure where they got this data from. Maybe this is just some old stuff that they've got this new platform and they're sending it out. But it was just interesting. They sort of talk about some actions to take, but here the key action of enabling multi-factor authentication isn't on there. But when you go further, it talks about it. But you'd think maybe that's one to put up on the first section. But I mean, it's a good thing, but also could be better.
The messaging isn't the strongest. Check which email address has been stolen. Log into your account to see which email address we've found online. Change your passwords. Focus on the most important accounts that use this email address. This includes your email and bank accounts and password managers. And watch out for any suspicious messages. It does also say if they have your password too and can access your email, they may be able to get into other accounts by resetting passwords or security verification links. There's a lot of ifs and buts in there. Like it could be stronger. It's yeah. I'm still the jury's these services. So they've got your email address. Like phone numbers were in the phone book. You know, that wasn't a problem. Like your email address, on what planet now is someone's email address confidential and private? These days not anymore. The action could be stronger, couldn't it?
Yeah.
MFA, multi-factor authentication, use a password manager, you know.
Yeah. I mean, in this scenario, they're trying to sell a product. It seems they obviously offer like identity protection type thing.
Yeah.
But I think the general message, I guess, is good for your average person to sort of be aware of these things. But yeah, it could be a bit easier to understand, perhaps, and a bit more specific on, I guess, what it can be. But
yeah, one thing we haven't talked about this week, actually, which was in the news previously, I think everyone else has talked about it, was the 16 billion passwords that were exposed. It was something I was going to bring to the table, but then didn't this week. One, because everybody's talked about it already, but there was a massive data breach, biggest ever data leak ever revealed. Jury's really out on whether or not it is new data or whether it's a bunch of old data that's just been recycled. But I think, what does it say? A database with 184 million records. So yeah, everybody's been talking about it, and it may be that your email address has come from there. I don't know how many email addresses are in the world, but there's a good chance if you've had an email address for a number of years. I've had my email address like 15 years. One of them I've had like 20 plus years. Of course it's going to be out there. You know, like if I think about every single website I've had an account with or service I've had an account with, so many companies that no longer exist whose databases have disappeared into the ether. You know, that's as long as the passwords aren't reused, the email address is pretty much common knowledge. So don't fret too much if your email address is on the dark web. As long as you have good password hygiene, use a password manager, pass keys coming, you know, like as long as you don't use the same password and have multi-factor authentication that isn't SMS, you're good, I think.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. I think that's us done for this week then.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, it's good to be back. So much covered this week. Ambulance chasers for M&S. Get on the compensation claim. Nexus Mods, DDoS, Google location, OSINT and pizzas. Don't go sharing confidential plain documents on a gaming forum. If your browser asks you to copy something into an address bar or file page, don't. Ignore dodgy SMSs. And don't go and ransomware blood testing places because you end up killing people, and that's not good for anyone. So, and it's up to you whether or not lorry driver, if you want to buy a Groupon license, do it at your own risk. Use a credit card.
Yeah.
And just be prepared that at some point your application may become deactivated and your Windows might start asking you for a new license key, or your Word might start asking you for a new license key. Don't get upset if it only lasts a few weeks. It's only a $5. Yeah. Okay. Same time next week.
Yeah. Catch you next week.
Brilliant. See you later.
See ya.